Hi everybody, it is week 5 of our half square triangle challenge. Can you believe it's already been 5 weeks? That means we only have 3 weeks to go after this week. I know Oliver can hardly contain his excitement. He actually was in last week's video, but I accidentally deleted the footage. It's like, ugh, it's so hard to be a YouTube person. So let's get started. We are going to make a pinwheel block. Not just your everyday pinwheel block though. It's special. Now you might really like the 32 half square triangles at a time method. So let's quickly review that one. This starts with 2 squares at 16 inches. And I made a little boo-boo during this particular session, so I share with you how I recovered from that boo-boo. So just in case you get a little rotary cutter happy, you can recover too. In my haste, I cut down the middle instead of drawing a line. But I'm going to recover so you all can see what I do in case you make the same silly mistake. So I've drawn the other line. No need to have a line where I cut because we don't sew on that line. And I am using the 32-in-1 block method like we have been using. Fortunately, it makes my half square triangles a little larger, so recovering shouldn't be a big deal. We'll see. Even though I split it down the middle before I was supposed to, I was still able to sew both sides and recover. I am going to use my Caterpillar rotating cutting mat to slice up these little squares into 3.5-inch half square triangles. So I thought it might be a good idea just to review how we made the 16 half square triangle blocks from a square that's 11.5 inches. So here's just a highlight and overview of what we did on those blocks. Now I'm going to use my slotted trimmer. I think that is my favorite way to cut down my half square triangle units. And if you're not familiar, you leave your half square triangle unit folded over, and then there are lines on the trimmer. There are dotted lines, which means that's where your seam line goes, and your seam allowance goes in the shaded area. So you choose the size you want your half square triangle units to be and use that line and shade. So here, I've lined up my unit. I did not. And then I've got dog ears to cut off on the corners. And this makes a perfect half square triangle unit. I am still using my handy dandy Steady Betty to press my half square triangle units. And as soon as I get done pressing them, we will make our fancy pinwheel block. Now I do have links in the description below. There is a site that shows in her blog how these were made. She does not use black and white. She actually uses I think she uses 3 colors to make hers. But it's the same pattern. So if you like to see these in print, I suggest you go check out her site. One day I'll have these on my blog whenever I get my act together. Just an update on my Rowenta iron. It's not bad. She gets pretty warm. Now I don't do steam, so I can't say anything from that perspective, but this iron gets plenty hot enough. I do think that this Steady Betty prevents stretching of your fabric just because of this material that is on the pressing mat. It prevents stretching. My squares are, as long as I put them together correctly and trimmed them correctly, they are square. I don't get the stretching that I get when I use a regular ironing surface. All right, I am ready to put together the pattern. Now that we have all of our half square triangles put together and trimmed down using our slotted trimmer, let's arrange them in our pinwheel design. I am going to put the pattern together on my new and not so nice and neat anymore. You can see I've been using it quite a bit. My new batting mat. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. I need to come up with something cute. Now I like to go by the picture because I am a picture person. So that's what I do. I've got my little iPad here and I've pulled up the website. I am just using the black and white. I'm going to show you. This is her website. So you can see she's using a different color for her pinwheel than she uses in the upper corners. I am going to be using the black and white theme throughout. So I just like to follow the picture here, and I will have a pinwheel. I really am loving this black and white format. It's a lot of fun. Lot of fun. Now I did not go with the plain white. If you notice, here I do have a pattern. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. I think I just have one more white fat quarter. Okay, and there is the pinwheel block. How cool is that? That looks so good. And it's actually easier to see on camera. So if you have your fabric laid out, and this is a great way to carry it from here to the sewing machine, but if you have your fabric laid out and you take a picture of it, like when I just am looking at it here, I mean, I can see it, but if I look at the camera, I can see it even better. Now, there is another variation of this that we can do. So here, our pinwheel with the little tail is in black. Let's flip everything and make it in white. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up. And there, this pinwheel really sticks out. You don't really even see the pinwheel in the white. Well, isn't that interesting? I don't really see the white pinwheel. Huh. But that is something that you can do. Plus, you also have this outline here. Half square triangles are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now, I do want to show you these two blocks that I put together. This is from the 32-inch or 32 half square triangles. So here, my pinwheel should be in white. And you kind of have the same issue here with the other one. You don't really see a pinwheel in the white. You see more of this outline and then this single pinwheel in the middle. And here is where your pinwheel is in the black, and you can see the pinwheel really well. And you also get that, if you really look at it, it's a double look, because you can see the square or the diamond around the pinwheel as well. So there you go. Those are our two blocks, and will be 3 blocks in the pinwheel. I cannot believe it is already week 5. This has just been flying by. I also can't believe that, this week is November. So, all right, so we have week 1, week 2, and then I did a full-size quilt, week 3, week 4, and week 5. This week was kind of a review. So we went back over cutting out 16 half square triangles from 2 11.5-inch squares. We went over cutting out 32 half square triangles from 2 16-inch square pieces of fabric. We went over pressing on our Steady Betty. We looked at 2 different versions of the same pinwheel. So here, when we have our darker fabrics, you can see that the pinwheel does its little pinwheel thing. But when we use the lighter fabrics in the pinwheel, even though there really is a pinwheel here, the dark fabric takes over and this square or diamond kind of pops out. Half square triangles are just awesome. And I'm using only black and white, so if you're using colors, you're going to have something that, you know, looks a little different, which is great. That's what this is all about. You taking a standard bread and butter block for quilting, which is the half square triangle, and doing with it what you want to do with it to make it wonderful and inventive. So this is your opportunity to use your creativity. And if you're like me and, you know, creativity, most of my ideas come from other people that I see, then, you know, there are still a million options. Just go and look for half square triangle blocks on YouTube. You'll be blown away by what all you can do with them. They're great. Okay, let's see. Next week, we are going to look at a new way to cut out half square triangles. All of you who have your AccuQuilt, we have a half square triangle block. It will tell you that it finishes at 3 inches, which would be the 3.5 inch square, which is what we've been making. You, of course, can make any size you want. You do not need the big cutter for these guys. So I've got my little Go Baby. I'll be using that, and we'll go over how we can make half square triangle blocks using this cutting system. Someone in the comments brought up a Crafter's Companion set of die cuts. Believe it or not, I've got them right here. Here you go. And there are some half square triangle dies. So we'll try those out too. May not be next week, maybe the week after that. This is an old set. You may have to go to eBay if you're interested in this. And I did use a die, and it was a triangle die from this set. My die bent, but you know, I may have tried to cut too many blocks out with it. Just something to look forward to. And of course, if there's anything that you think of that I haven't gone through yet, I would be happy to try and use it. There are block lock rulers for half square triangles. I prefer my slotted trimmers, so I'm not planning on investing in one of those, but that is another option as well. There are some die-hard block lock ruler users, and I understand you found something that works for you, and that's awesome. Also, I have very much enjoyed doing this. It gave me purpose for 8 weeks. It put me on a deadline, because deadlines are, you know, meant to be broken. If there's something that you would like to see in the weeks following our half square triangle challenge, I was kind of thinking maybe of doing a project every Monday that could be made for gifts for the holiday season. But if you would prefer, I don't know, strip quilting, using strips and the different blocks that you can make with strips, just let me know if there's anything in particular that we could spend 8 weeks, something like that, on. Maybe a block of the week for 12 weeks. We can make big blocks. Just any ideas that you have, please throw them out there. It seems like there was something else. I also have a surprise coming up, and I can't talk much about it now, but it involves other quilters and getting together with other quilters. So that announcement will be coming up very soon. There is also a trip to Ireland. I can't wait to go. never been. My mother has Irish in her, so I've got some heritage and history there. I will put a link in the description below. The trip is next September 2025, so if you are interested, click in the link below, check out the cost and the information about the trip, and consider going. We would love to have you. I think we're going to have a great time. It's a smaller group of people, so, you know, like hundreds of people. It will be a small group, and we'll all get to know each other, and I think it'll be fun. Now, before I sign off, I am going to include pictures that I've gotten of other quilters' half square triangle blocks and quilts that they have sent to me in email. I'm so excited. I always forget to include it. So this time, I'm like, I'm not gonna forget. I'm not gonna forget. So check out all these fun half square triangle blocks and quilts. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. Now, somebody in the comments, oh, can't talk.